Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Overlay, a poker podcast brought to you by CCG Poker Radio, episode 22. We have a special guest, Sara from Poker Powher. Sara, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. I know that we were just on the phone for a little bit beforehand, and I was kind of going over like what the interview is going to be about and what we're going to talk about and like what kind of points we want to hit. And then did you notice my transition into my radio voice there for like the beginning of the... Brandon never appreciates my radio voice.
It's quite impressive.
Oh,
I like it.
Man, you are already ranked much higher as guest co-hosts than anybody else so far, because nobody ever compliments me personally. I'm always like, oh, such and such, you're such a great player. Or I watch your vlogs, or, I envy your game. Not that I don't envy your game. I'm just saying in general, it's nice occasionally to get, other people telling me how great I am.
Yeah. But I'll try to keep that up.
Yeah, fan my fanboy base and we'll be perfectly good. So, Sara, we want to, obviously the reason why you're on the show today is to talk about Poker Powher and kind of the organization and what it is. So I'm going to give you a little bit of leeway here to just kind of introduce, the organization, what you guys do, what it is, and just the basics.
Yeah, sounds great. Yeah, so thanks for having me on. Poker Powher is an organization dedicated to teaching 1 million women how to play poker.
Wow.
Which sounds like a lofty goal, but we think we can achieve it. And it was started about a year ago by a woman named Jenny. And she's the founder of Peak Six Investments, which is a financial services firm located in downtown Chicago at the Board of Trade. And it's a trading firm. It does, there's a lot of different aspects to the firm, but she and her husband started it in the 90s over, a while ago. And they've always felt that poker has, a lot of connections to trading and the business world and things like that. And so they would hold poker events and they would teach their new traders how to play poker if they didn't know how to play already. And so it's just kind of part of their culture.
Wow.
And yeah, it's pretty cool. Jenny herself didn't play as much. Like she knew the game a little bit, but it was more her husband that played. And so anyway, about a year ago, she has a teenage daughter, and her teenage daughter came home from a tennis match with her husband, or with, her dad, Jenny's husband, and basically had lost the tennis match. And Jenny's husband was frustrated because he was feeling that she didn't even understand that there was an opponent that she was playing against. He said something like, it seems like she's just hitting the ball against a wall. Like she's not thinking. And then he kind of offhandedly said, we should teach her poker, and walked away. And how Jenny works is she kind of thinks, people say things and they sit with her. And then over time she has ideas. And so this, he kind of just walked away, and she kind of sat with that comment. And, a couple of weeks later, she's like, should we teach her how to play poker? And then she came up with the idea for Poker Powher. And so it started just from that.
Wow.
So, yeah. So I got involved. One of her project managers kind of found me online somehow and, asked if I could help, maybe just see if we could get this organization off the ground and get it started. So I started working with them about a year ago to just experiment. And we started just pulling together some curriculum, and we had a couple groups of high school girls, one of which Jenny's daughter was a part of, and we just started teaching them poker, and it was a blast. And so we kind of have built and grown from there. So currently, about a year later, we have over 47 active virtual clubs in which we teach poker once a week to these different clubs. We do a lesson, then we play poker on an app. And we're located like all over the country. We have high school clubs, we have college clubs, we have adult women's clubs. We have some corporate clubs as well.
And a lot of them are college, right? I've seen some college ones. I follow you guys on Instagram. At least that's where I see the most stuff from you. I say you in general. It's just from Poker Powher, which is cool. I also really like the logo a lot. I think the logo's pretty killer.
Thanks. Yeah.
Just an FYI.
Awesome. Yeah, we have a graphic designer we've been working with who's kind of revamping it. So I'll when we've decided on the newer logo, I will see what you think of it. But I
Oh,
think you'll like
nice.
it. It's
Again,
pretty cool.
keep
Yeah.
fanning I love compliments and being involved. So
Sure.
you know the way to my heart. I'm already hooked for like interview number 2. You might replace Brandon as the full-time co-host in general,
Hey, let's do it.
which could be kind of fun.
Let's do it.
So, I mean, it's a lot of different, and again, is it more Zoom based now because of COVID-19? And I hate to bring that up. I'm just in general, is it, because obviously you can't go to all of these different places. Because like I've noticed some, like there's like a Duke poker club for, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It actually started out as not virtual. And so it was basically me reaching out to anyone that I could connect with in the poker community as we had clubs coming in prior to COVID and being like, hey, do you know any female poker players in North Carolina? Do you know any female poker players in LA that
would be willing to go and kind of
willing...
teach and meet with these girls and teach them the basics? And poker is one of those games when you play live, it's difficult, and there's a lot of it's partly why my company Chicago Charitable Games works so well, because I've always personally tried to make it very accommodating and accepting for new players. People are always like, why do you waste your time? Like hardcore, grinding poker players are always like, why do you waste your time with a $20 early bird tournament? Like, bro, it's a waste of time. I'm like, it's not for you. It's for people that want to come out. They want to get used to doing it. $20 is like enough money where it's like, all right, cool. I might be able to win $300 or $400 if I win the whole thing. And also if I lose $20, like, it's not a big deal. Like most people are willing to put $20 up for almost anything and be like, cool, I'll try it once. Like, how hard could it be? So like, I really like the aspect and the idea of teaching new players, because it's so funny to me. And I see it so often, and I have a couple of issues with this in general, but like you get a new guy at like a 1-2 game, right? And he does something totally stupid. I mean, just a boner move where he's, I don't know, cold calls a huge bet with like 4-7 and he ends up making a straight. And then you get the regular guy who's pissed that he lost and it's a bad beat. And then he immediately starts in the guy, well, you're never going to make it in this blah. And they just start berating this person for making a terrible mistake. And it's probably, who knows? I mean, you never know what people are thinking when they do stuff, but it always gets me like there's something in general, about how poker players will kind of get on the newbie, and it's like, guys, we need new players to come in all the time. It's like you need fish to feed the pond here a little bit, and I like this idea of building the game and more people playing, and in general, I think it's incredible. It's what we need.
It's great, and our mission really is like to teach the game, but it's really to teach like what the game teaches you about life. Because it's funny, like I've been playing this game, since I was in high school, in essence, or I mean, kind of since I was little with my family, but, I didn't really realize like what it actually can teach you. If you think about it, it teaches you, how to be disciplined, how to fold hands, how to be analytical, how to think through and be logical with your decision making. It teaches you how to be perceptive with tells. It teaches you how to, be systematic. And it's, there's so many things that it can teach you. And that's kind of like what our mission is. It's like a main part of our mission is to make those connections explicit, and really just teach women that like, and girls, young women, adult women, like, how to sit at the poker table, because, our idea is kind of like the poker table mirrors every table in life, right? Like it mirrors the interview table, the negotiation table, the boardroom table. And like typically in financial services or in the business world, like that table is filled with men, right? And so kind of it's like a dual mission to teach the game, but also to teach kind of like confidence and decision making and risk taking through that game that I feel like a lot of boys and men like grow up doing and learning naturally, and like women just don't have.
Oh, we pretend. I don't know if that's actually 100% true. We just pretend better apparently right now, or we're more believable, or there's just like they think that's happening. I don't know if that's true, but it's funny that you mentioned those things, because I think now that I'm thinking about it and I'm looking, while you're explaining the organization, I think initially when I first saw it, I was like, oh, that's a really cool idea, because it's, bringing new players to the game. It's turning people on to a game that sometimes gets a bad rap of this like negative, dirty kind of, it's not, it's not a great, like a used car salesman, right? Whenever people think of used car salesman, everybody thinks of the sleazy guy that's going to sell you a car, it's going to break down in a week. And I feel like poker gets that kind of feeling sometimes when it's really not. It's an unfair representation of the game. Not all games are like that. So I like that you guys are changing those things and making people understand like, hey, let's bring new players in, let them see this. And then to go on the idea of, you can use it, because I do it not even thinking that those are a lot of the reasons of why I do the things that I do. Is it does come from poker. I mean, it comes from that kind of mindset of seeing something, looking at your options, figuring out the best option, and then going forward with that option with a game plan of like, not only am I going to do this on the flop, then I have to follow it up with this move on the turn, and then this is what the river's going to have to be. I mean, it literally gives you a roadmap, and it's an idea, and you got to make those decisions early, because that decision that you're going to make now pre-flop is going to affect all the different streets, and it's the same idea in life, right? Like you have to make a decision, and then it's going to follow through, and things are good. So, I mean, I think it's a really neat, I know I keep saying neat. I really like the idea of that you're teaching a game that it does those things really well. I mean, it teaches you about confidence. It teaches you about making decisions and analyzing things and trying to figure out. And I love that. I think it's awesome.
And it's just like, what other situation or game in life does that happen so frequently? Like you're sitting at a table and you're going through hundreds of hands, and you're going through emotional highs and emotional lows and all these, decision-making processes that, it's all compressed into like a short period of time. And so it's just like, it really, it allows you to kind of practice those different skills. And
kind of like in life, there's more finality, right? Like if you try to, you're like, well, baseball's like life and blah, blah, blah. But if you strike out, you can go back and do it again. Well, like in poker, you strike out or you screw up, like you're out. Like there's no going back. Like it's very, in a sense, there's some finality there where it's like, man, if I mess this up or make the wrong decision, like game over. Like I got to move on to the next game, which is great. You can always, tee it up or do it again next time. But it's interesting that there's not a lot of games like poker where it's there's risk and reward, and you have to decide what's it worth, and it's awesome. I've never thought of it so much about like financial people, but I mean, all financial guys play poker in general, or finance people, I should say.
Yeah, pretty much.
Or I feel like they do.
The emotional part too, like when you were talking about like the guy with the 4-7 and like the other guy berating him, it's like, we specifically talk about like tilts and like dealing with, emotional resilience. And like, we've all been there where, you play a tournament and you're on late in day 2, you've played for 22 hours and like in 10 seconds, you're out.
I do it every time.
And like how that
Every
feels
time.
And like, like you got to be able to deal with that. Just, like that, I feel like translates to life so much. And like just dealing with that, like raw emotion and like how to just maintain like, composure in those situations too.
So what is your, I'm looking on the website here. So I know like when you teach here in Chicago, are you able to do some in-person stuff? How does like a normal club go? Like, how does it?
We are not back to in-person at all yet, unfortunately, but currently like a normal club is, basically you sign up on the website and anyone can sign up. It's completely free. And then you choose, do you want to do, what type of courses do you want to do? So we offer 4 lessons, 8 lessons, or 12 lessons that are once per week. And so you can either sign up by yourself and kind of we'll kind of put you with other people who want to learn and form a club around those people. Or if you like, hey, I have 6 friends that I know want to do it, you can just create your club together and do it. And then you choose which kind of course you want to go through. And then once per week, we pair you with a teacher once you pick a day and time. And then it's about an hour 15 minutes per week. The first 15, 20 minutes is a lesson. So we'll show you kind of like a PowerPoint presentation, give you some strategies. And then we use the Poker 2 app and we play a tournament after that.
Nice.
And the teacher kind of helps like, discuss hands and like decision-making throughout the hand. And we stop and pause and say, hey, what did you do here? Like, what could you have done differently? that's kind of how it works.
It's like a group discussion to kind of go over so everybody gets an idea, and I love it.
Exactly. Yeah. It's super fun. And then, yeah, when we go back live, I mean, we definitely want to, we're not going to, now that we have so many clubs, we're not going to be able to have live teachers, in all the different locations around the US. But, when it's possible, we definitely want to get back to having some live clubs as well.
Yeah. Cause I mean, live poker in general, I find, I'm a little partial to it considering what I do, but I like the game being around people. Like it's also something else because even, as a player who's, I'm pretty confident. I'm not worried about, dealing with the game itself. But even then, like you still have to deal with so many different people at the table that makes it, it's interesting. If you're a person who enjoys, I enjoy sometimes watching the train derail, right? Like I love when I'm playing it like, because I don't play outside of, CCG and then the room down in Texas. I don't really play anywhere else. Like I don't play in any of the apps. I have 3 kids, 2 daughters, which is also something we talked about earlier that made me interested in what you guys do because, again, I have two daughters that I want them to learn how to play poker, and I think it's a great way for them to, become empowered and get confidence. And I think as a father, that's what I'm most worried about with daughters is like I want them to be confident and kind of aware of their surroundings and how to read people. And I think that's another thing that I really like. It's like the ability to read people. And that's part of like my big swooping story here for myself is I like playing live poker because I enjoy seeing other people and trying to figure out what they're doing as well. It's like a chess game with 9 different, I guess 8 different people at the same time, which is, can you imagine playing chess against 8 different guys at the exact same time? Like it's wild to think about. Like I can barely beat anybody on the chess.com app, but it's interesting. I like that aspect of it as well.
Yeah, I miss live play a lot.
Yeah.
It's it's starting to come back, but
a little bit.
I actually had not really played online at all. And I didn't like it at first, but now I play probably 4 to 5 days a week. During COVID online, and so I've grown to like it, but I definitely like live more.
You adapt, like you have to.
The characters and the people. It's
it's fun.
I miss the poker characters.
Right, I do. I always it's stuff Brandon and I always have talked about. Like whenever I go to the Horseshoe, I'll play like the World Series stuff that's at the Horseshoe, right? And him and I had made a deal with one another that we were both going to go to the World Series this year, but Lord knows that hasn't happened yet. So we'll see what happens. But like I always pack like my satchel, my man purse of like snacks and I have my iPad and my iPhone and a battery in case they die and headphones and spare headphones in case those headphones die and like stuff to do. And I never use any of it. I'm so happy sitting at the table and just watching. It's like people watching all of these random guys, and it's such a diverse group of people who play poker in general. Right. It's just like I play golf is really the only other game that I play a lot of, and I know the game really well, but like it's a lot of the same people that play golf. Like it's like the same kind of general mold. Whereas like with poker, there's a lot of different people that play, and so it's neat. You get a little bit of an experience while playing with meeting all of those people.
You do, and you become friends with them. Like I'm friends with so many people that I never would have met just, unless we were seated at that poker table together for 8 hours and had conversations. So it's just, I agree.
You ever played with Howard?
Yeah.
Everybody knows Howard.
I'm definitely a member.
He's one of the guys that you see at the Horseshoe, and you're like, oh man, I hope I'm not Howard. Hey Howard, how are you? Good. I'm glad we're at the same table. Shit, it's a 400. I could just rebuy now and punt these chips off, and I know I'm not going to go back to that table then.
Yeah,
that's never crossed my mind. He's a sweetheart, but he's one of those characters that you don't get to experience in an online. You couldn't recreate that on any of the apps. If they could, I think they would be more fun. But
I actually just said to someone the other day, I was like, I miss Howard and I miss Polish Andy.
Right.
Like I
honestly
just miss those guys.
you need those guys. Like you need. Oh, it's great. It's great. All right. Well, let's do a couple of things. One, I wanted to do just some stuff personally for you on your poker, your kind of poker history. We wanted to talk about our big four questions we always ask all of our guest hosts. So where did you learn the game?
I learned the game from my grandmother, who we were just a card playing family. So we would, on holidays sit at the table and play for nickels, dimes, quarters, etc.
I did the exact same thing.
Yeah. So we'd play like not Texas Hold'em. We'd play like Guts and 7-card no peak and like all these weird games.
Baseball, dime store, all the good stuff where it's like you explain to, I use the term kids, younger men and women that play poker, like, they have no idea what the heck you're talking about. It's great.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that was fun. And then I learned the hand rankings through her. And, then I'd play with my guy friends in high school. And then I didn't really actually play much in college, but then I started taking it more seriously after college. But, my grandma's great. She's like 93.
Oh, God bless her.
And she watches poker on TV, and, it's cute. Every time I haven't gotten to see her in a while, but, the last few years, every time I see her, she's like, I looked for you on TV the other night and I didn't see you. And I'm just like, next time, Grandma.
Maybe next time.
Right. And it was funny because I was going to actually go play the main event, like the 10K for the first time this year before COVID happened.
Me too.
I know. And I was like, because I turned 40. And so I was like, okay.
Me too.
Here we go. Like, you did?
I did.
So, yeah.
I'm already, I turned 40 on July 2nd. So.
Okay.
Was,
mine was back in March. So.
Okay.
So yeah. So anyway,
we put that out in the world now. Just a couple of newly 40-year-olds hanging out.
So yeah. So just from her, and so I wanted to be able to play the main, and try to at least get my face on TV at some point.
Yeah.
So she could be like,
being that we're the same age, is that like a culture that was more prevalent in the 80s, that it was okay to gamble with children? Because like I remember. When we would go to family parties, like my most fun thing is I remember before we would go to my grandparents' house, same kind of principle. I would fill my pockets with my change that I had because I couldn't buy them with dollars. It was those are the big ones. Those were like they were too big to even think about. But I had a handful of pennies, nickels, and dimes, and that's what we played. And I remember being pissed when like my Uncle Mickey would bet a quarter, and be like, "Damn it, I don't have a quarter." Like it's 2 dimes and a nickel. That feels like so much more. It's really not, but to me, it felt so much different. So I wonder what that is, because we played at every family party, and again, it was games like you talked about. It was just silly games and. My grandparents played and my cousins played. And I have a pretty large family in general too, so maybe that helps, but that was neat. All right, cool. Question number 2. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
What is your biggest win?
So my biggest win was last year.
Could be tournament, cash game, whatever you want to go with.
Oh, yeah. It was a tournament, and I'd been kind of chasing a 5-figure cash for a couple of years, and I finally got it last year. So I got it was about 11,500. I chopped a tournament, a $400 deep stack at the Venetian 3 ways. So it was like a 400 deep stack. So that was exciting because I'd been chasing that 5 figures.
That's a pretty good return on investment there for a $400. 1 bullet, 2 bullets?
1 bullet.
Wow.
And it was actually crazy because I got coolered. I had late in the tournament, I think there was like 15 people left, and I think there was like 19 or something like that. And I got coolered ace king against queens. The flop was like ace queen. Like, what are you going to do? And so I had not that many blinds left, maybe like 7 or 8 blinds. We combined to 2 tables. I let the blinds pass me multiple times. I just couldn't. I was getting such bad hands. I couldn't bring myself to go all in. I was left with 1 big blind. I let the blinds pass me. I get deuces in the big or in on the button or whatever. There were like 5 people in the pot, and I get my 1 big blind in with deuces. And some guy, he isolates. So he bets and he gets everybody out of the pot, and he has ace high flush draw. And then I hold and I quintuple up, and then I come back to win. It was the best.
That's awesome.
The best day. It was great. Yeah, it was fun. So that was, I was happy.
11 change is a pretty solid big winner. That's a lot,
Yeah.
Other people have been like, "Oh, I won $2,500 in a 1-2 game," which is also an exciting and pretty big accomplishment. But tournament win, that's what everybody wants, right? You want that $400 buy-in that you could turn into a big winner in one day. That's kind of the poker dream eventually. So after the poker dream, we always talk about the biggest loss. What's your biggest loser of all time? You ever go crazy, fire a bunch of bullets?
I mean,
big downswing on a poker trip or anything?
I had a big downswing. Like in 2016, I did not cash one tournament, which was crazy. Like now I'm talking like $50 horseshoe dailies, like anything.
Nothing.
Not
even a min cash?
Not a min cash. Oof. I would continuously bubble, and I was like playing bad and playing scared, just trying to get that min cash for my mental sanity. So yeah, that was rough. I didn't count, like I stopped, which is bad, but I stopped writing down how much money I was losing in tournaments just because
I personally do not write it down, because if I actually knew how bad of a poker player I am, I wouldn't play this game. It's funny because I again, not that I'm an expert, but I only have an expertise type mindset in two things: golf and poker. And I'm pretty good at both, probably better at golf than I am at poker. And I'll see people playing golf and I'm like, you guys are awful. Like, why would you want to do this? Like, I'm kind of that guy in poker because I love the game. I like playing. I told you before, I go a little crazy. I only do it, a handful of times. I don't go to the casino very often, but when I do, look out, because I am just a money tree that somebody's going to find and be like, man, this guy came with all his hair and he didn't shut up the whole time, and he punted off like $3,000 and it was great. Oh, what were you playing? 1-1,
Right.
Right. I can't help myself.
I'm opposite. Like I hate firing. I think I've only fired more than 2 bullets in a tournament, maybe 2 or 3 times in my life. Like I just can't bring myself to do it.
That's good, because I personally, I can't say the same, but I'd like to. And then last question we talked about, we've kind of talked about it a little bit already, is it's just why do you play? What's your reason for playing?
I mean, for me, I think there's just a few. I like the competition. Like cash games are fine. I'll play cash games, but I usually play cash games to like feed my tournament need, because I just feel like I love the competition. I like the adrenaline of being in a tournament. I like that you don't have to think about anything else but being at the poker table. That's where your mind is, for long stretches of time, which is just really nice, kind of like an escape. And I like the social aspect as well. I'm a teacher. Like I teach for Chicago Public Schools, so I don't play poker for oh yeah. So I teach 3rd grade math and science. So I don't play poker for a living. So for me, like the money's great, but I do it because it's fun and competitive, and I just, I really enjoy the friendships and like the social aspect of it as well.
Well, you're kind of a perfect teacher for Poker Powher because, one, you are a teacher, so the patience thing is there. Right. And then 2, you're a pretty avid poker player, so they'd be hard pressed. And you live in Chicago, or near Chicago. Right. So, I mean, they're based in Chicago. So, yeah, they're pretty lucky they found you.
Yeah, I'm happy. It's worked out. It's been such a great experience working with them this year. So, yeah, I think we're going to continue to grow. So we'll see what else it turns into.
How close to 1 million in a year have we gotten? I say we, like I'm jumping in on this bandwagon of success.
Hey, you're invited. Well, I mean, we have 47 clubs that are like active. We have about 10 clubs that are completed. So, we're getting there. I'd say we have about, 450 people who have been involved so far. But Jenny, just the founder, she doesn't like to do things small. So when she has an idea, like she's going to follow through with it, and we're going to,
you got to keep going. Go big or go home, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Actually, I did want to mention something else. You had texted me or email. I had trouble because we were trying to figure out a time to do this, and like we had texted back and forth, and then there was an email, and then I forget which one we were, and I didn't read all of them. Just my own personal problems. Again, why I don't pay attention for very long in a poker game. But you had mentioned to me in one of those formats that one of the students was coming to CCG to play in her first live tournament.
Mm-hmm. She came to play on Saturday, and she made the final table. And she cashed, and I was so excited, and she was so excited.
Oh, yeah.
The story she told me, I think she got she had 2 pair, and somebody rivered a higher 2 pair, but
correct. She got it
So
in
that
good.
was, she did. I know. So,
Yep. She made the right decisions. Unfortunately, in life and in poker, sometimes you can make the right decisions and it still turns out bad. Like it is what it is. That's just life. It's never.
Yeah.
I always explain to people like, man, I was like a 90. He guy's like a 10% dog. I'm like, yeah, but he still wins 1 out of 10 times. Like it's
exactly.
or 1 out of 5.
Yeah.
Your 80-20 is great, and I'll bet a lot of money on my 80-20 favorites. But they do lose occasionally. It's just the way it is. But no, she was super excited, and I didn't out her, but I was like, oh, like I heard it's your first time, and I'm like, I won't tell anybody else, and it was like away from like the table, and she was very excited. So it was super cool. I like to see, again, new players coming out and enjoying the game and making it, it makes it more fun for. I wish we had more people like that because it's like. Man, they're kind, they're fun, they're there to learn and, use the game to kind of, leapfrog into something else, which is great. So lastly, and we'll kind of wrap it up with this. How can people get involved? And I'm gonna hold you off for 1 second here. How can people get involved in many different ways? Like, how can women get involved that want to learn how to play? How can women get involved that want to help teach? What can men do? Like, what could somebody like myself do to kind of help? Because again, just how can anyone help in general?
Yeah. So
or all of those.
we want as many women as possible. So how people can help is just by spreading the word. So going on social media and following us on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, and just really, joining us on social media would be an easy way to get involved. Word of mouth. So, spreading the word, it's completely free. If you are wanting to join, you just go on the website, pokerpowher.com. You click sign up and you just put in your information and we will hook you up with a teacher really quickly and get you involved. So again, you can come by yourself and we will pair you with a club, or if you have, people that you want to join with, you can do that as well. And it's fun. Like we have clubs that are, adult women who used to be friends in high school. And we have clubs that are aunts and cousins and granddaughters and grandmothers all playing together. And we have clubs that are high school friends. And so, we really just want anybody to join. So spreading the word and just like letting people know that it's free and they can join. And we are definitely looking for teachers. We're looking for high quality teachers who love the game, know the game, and want to help. So we are recruiting teachers all the time. So a potential teacher could go on the website and sign up saying they want to be a teacher. And that would be super helpful. And yeah, we have training and we have a curriculum that you work off of. And
I've
it would
seen
be great.
some of the downloads and some of the things, and it's pretty awesome. Like I was very impressed. And I'm not easily impressed at times, I promise. Especially when it comes to websites and poker in general. I'm always like, this sucks. But you guys, I was impressed, which is partly why I wanted to, to do this and kind of move forward. But I'm just thinking to myself, I was like, man, she'd be a good teacher. She'd be a good teacher. I think I can think of one really good one.
Yeah, please send her our way.
I don't know if she'll do it, but.
I mean, you get paid. You do get paid.
Ooh, so, she might do it.
Yeah, we can let her know that. Because we want people who are committed and we want people who are going to do a great job. So we compensate you for your time and your effort on that. And yeah, again, we're getting bigger. Like we have 16 or 18 clubs right now that are in the process of being created, and they're getting, exponentially bigger by the day and the week. And so we need more teachers. So, send them our way if you know of anybody who wants to do it.
Yes, I will. And I think that would be fun.
Great.
Awesome. Well, thank you for doing this with me and talking and talking about Poker Powher and kind of, and you guys are on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, all the good stuff.
Yep, we're everywhere. I think we have a TikTok account now, which I don't really know what that
I've been on TikTok 5 times and I don't understand it. My 8-year-old niece likes TikTok, and we went on a family vacation and she was TikToking. Then my wife wanted to learn how to do it, so they were like doing, I don't know, whatever the dance is called, and I was just like, No, I'm out. I can't
Right.
do this. I don't know what they're doing. I'm completely confused. I'm too old for TikTok. It's
Same.
okay. I finally realized now that there are going to be things that come out that I'm not going to be able to be a part of. And I feel like that's like TikTok might be like the one thing I think back and go, that's when life really changed for me, when I was no longer able to kind of function and use the newest social media out there.
Right.
TikTok's it.
It
It's a
is.
sketchy point for me. Well, thank you for talking. I will see you, I'm sure, soon at an event. And I'll definitely spread some word out. I'm gonna put some stuff out on our social media pages. So if you guys are looking to find out more about Poker Powher, just check the CCG, Facebook, Instagram, all that kind of good stuff. We'll put out some stuff for them on there. But other than that, thank you for doing the interview, and thank you for listening. And Sarah, do you have anything you want to say before we go? I always put Brandon on the spot to come up with like a tagline, and he sucks.
Oh
He
God.
never has one. So I don't know. Can you come up with like a 5-second?
Oh,
To super on the spot. I just all
no.
in jammed under the gun with like nothing, and you're just like, what is he doing?
Yeah. No, I can't. I'm
It's
not
all
going
right.
to try.
Nobody ever does it. It's kind of a hopeless. It's like, it's stupid. It's the first hand. Why did you go all in? You have 60,000 chips. It blows my mind every time we do a stack tournament and they get 60,000 in chips, and there's 108 people and 20 people waiting to get in because we're maxed out on tape. This is all pre-COVID, by the way. And I'm like,
Right.
the blinds are 100, 100. And then I'll hear a player down. It's like, how are you out? What could you possibly have 8 minutes into a tournament that's going to last 12 hours that you lost
Right.
60,000 chips on? I don't get it. If you guys teach a course in that, sign me up because I would like to figure it out. All right. Well, thank you so much for this. I will see you soon. That's it. Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks.